Welcome, everybody. And if you're just now joining us, welcome to ShiftCo in our training today. My name is Terri Maxwell, and I am the inventor of something called authentic demand generation, and also the founder of ShiftCo. We offer these trainings both for our members and for the public market as well. And our members also get coaching and additional training on the platform, but the training that I'm going to be providing today is one of our most requested programs, and I teach this particular program all over the world. My background is I started a purposeful Shark Tank about 14 years ago. I had this brilliant idea that I was going to sell my business and take that money and create this purposeful Shark Tank. I did that, but I lost a lot of money in the process. And part of the reason why I lost a lot of money doing that is because the way that you grow a conscious business is very different than how you grow a traditional business. So once I figured that out, I began to change my methods. And today we have a cultivator where we create concepts. ShiftCo is one of those. And then we have a speculator fund that we invest in conscious companies outside of our portfolio. We've created in our cultivator 5 different companies so far. And we've got a couple more that are in the cultivator right now. So I love what I do, and I love sharing my gift for growing businesses with other entrepreneurs. The other thing I think it's important to understand is my perspective. So this is where I grew up, 600 square foot trailer, very, very poor, abused in every way possible. But I had this wonderful person in my life, my grandfather, and my grandfather taught me this phrase, but it became more of a way of thinking that you really do get what you focus on. And the reason why that's important is the most challenging thing as an entrepreneur is growing demand for your business. And I don't mean just getting leads and getting sales. I mean, growing demand where people want to buy from you. It is the most challenging things that you have to do. And what our tendency is to focus on what's not working. And I was doing that as well. When I was failing at this purposeful Shark Tank, I had been successful in the past growing companies. I had grown my own company and sold it. But when I started this conscious business, this business designed to make the world better, those things didn't work anymore. And I did like everybody else does. I started focusing on what's not working. And I say that because if this webinar appealed to you, you're probably feeling like, what you're doing is not working. And I'm not sure what to do. And this person over here says, do it this way. And this person over here says, do it that way. That's going to just wear you out. And so what I want to do is just help you shift your focus. A big part of rocket fuel is rather than focusing on some technique like a click funnel or a lead magnet, you focus on activities that you enjoy. For example, if you enjoy networking, do networking. If you don't enjoy networking, don't do networking. So what I want to help you do today, as I walk you through this very, very powerful, effective method, and I'll put that effectiveness into perspective in a minute, is to help you begin to shift. Forget about what somebody taught you, forget about what you think it is. And we want to begin to shift to, what do I actually enjoy doing to grow relationships with my target market? That's what you really want to do, is you want to build relationships, which builds awareness with your target market before they're ready to buy. And that's basically what demand generation is. I'm going to talk about how it works. I'm going to talk about how to make it work for you. You could leave today's session and implement this and see a change in your business. That's in 1 hour. I'm also going to talk a little bit about what we call FD squared, demand and differentiation. So let's jump in. And I will also take questions at the end. So if you've got questions, you can put them in the chat and then I'll take them at the end. So one of my philosophies is I earn from my mistakes. I don't just learn from them. I earn from my mistakes. And one of the things that I could say about authentic business growth and growing a brand that makes the world better You cannot grow it the way you grow a traditional company. Ads don't work the same, email marketing doesn't work the same, click funnels and lead magnets and squeeze pages and all those techniques that a lot of the business growth experts teach, they just don't work for conscious entrepreneurs. So I like to say that this method I'm going to teach you almost could be called how I lost a lot of money trying to grow a conscious business, because I did. When I started 14 years ago, it took me 3 years and I lost a boatload of money because those techniques just don't work. The good news is, me earning from my mistakes, is a lot of great intellectual property came out of that. And one of the things that came out of that, which is the basis of ShiftCo, is this thing called the Conscious Business Growth Platform. Now, the most fascinating thing about this is in analyzing all of these different phases and asking myself in each of these 6 different phases, what do you actually need to be successful? So if you think about that for a second, feel free to put in the chat what you think is required to be successful. What is it? Any of those phases that you really, really need to be successful. What is it? Well, it ends up being, I did what's called a factor analysis. And a factor analysis is looking at every business phase in that previous slide. What do they actually have if they're a successful business, and what don't they have if they're not a successful business? It ended up being 3 things. The first one, and this is what we call FD squared, is fit. The business needs to fit you naturally. That's the way to make it fulfilling. I'll give you an example of that. I'm a builder. That's my fit. I like building the companies. I don't like running them. So if I build a company that I have to manage and run, I'm not going to be very happy. So fit is really, really important. Conversely, there are solvers. A lot of entrepreneurs are solvers, and solvers like the solving of problems. They don't want to build the business. And when a solver is forced into these building infrastructure, they don't like it and they resist it. So fit is a really important equation. And if what I'm saying resonates with you, let me know, and I can send you to some other training that we have that will help with that. The second thing is differentiation. So differentiation is one of the hardest things you'll do, but it is the key to making your business more simple. And differentiation is not what people think it is. Differentiation is being different in a way that matters to the buyer. So if this is my product, and I love my product, it's like my child, it's so important to me, and oh my gosh, these are all the things that are wonderful about the product. The customer, the target market, doesn't respond to what I think about the product. So we have to turn it around and we have to look at it from the buyer's perspective and say, what is the problem that this product solves for the customer? Well, it gives a really very beautiful writing experience. It's easy to hold. Well, I might not talk about those things. That's differentiation. It's figuring out the problems your product solves from the buyer's perspective. And that's the key to making your business simple. And of course, the last is demand generation. Demand generation is the key to freedom. You crack demand generation, you put this demand generation methodology in place, you can do anything with your business. Without it, your business will struggle and it'll stagnate. So this method that I've developed is not marketing. So I really, really want you to begin to kind of unpack that. It's not marketing. Demand generation is about building awareness so that your target market, the person you want to work with, knows that you exist. And secondly, they are interested in buying from you. Demand generation is an engine that you create. So we create probably 100 to 150 new leads every single month in ShiftCo. Maybe 8 to 12 people sign up a month. But I never ask anybody to buy, because the ones that want to buy, they let me know. They say, hey, I'm ready to join now. I've got a few questions. I never have to ask anybody to buy, because I build this demand generation machine that is very, very, very authentic. And the people that want to buy and this is true for all of our businesses. All of our businesses have this demand generation engine in place. We never ask anyone to buy. We never chase anyone. What we do is we put this demand generation engine in place. We serve our buyer effectively until they want to buy. And that's the key. So it's a very, very powerful equation. Now, in traditional business, remember, if you've just joined, we're going to be taking questions at the end. So feel free to put them in the chat or save them till the end. So in traditional business, demand generation exists and it looks like a funnel. And this is where things like click funnels and lead magnets really came from. Demand generation is a real thing. It's not just conscious business. What demand generation is, and the most important piece of demand generation, is building awareness. So for example, when you guys joined, I said, put your information in the chat box. If you did that, you've got 7 people that are now aware that you exist. Every meeting you go to, you should put your information into the chat box, because that whoever is in that meeting, that networking event, this training event, put your information into the chat box. Secondly, connect with people on LinkedIn. Everybody that's in here, write their names down, connect with them on LinkedIn. That's awareness. I can see the things going in the chat box. Connect with people on LinkedIn. That's awareness. So awareness is the holy grail of demand generation. And it is the one thing that entrepreneurs do not do enough of. You want to be doing demand generation constantly, and not in a way of trying to get people to buy, but hey, I'd like to connect with you. I met you on that ShiftCo webinar. I'd love to get to know you better. Let's connect on LinkedIn. That's awareness. And it is the holy grail. It's the number one thing that you've got to get. Secondly is interested. So I offer, again, we probably have 500 people a month that become aware. About 100 to 150 are interested. They attend a free event. That doesn't mean they want to buy. And quite honestly, it doesn't matter to me if they want to buy. I'm here to serve you. I am here to help you. And that interest that doesn't mean they want to buy. It just means that they're interested in what you have to offer. They're interested in what you have to say. That's the second most important piece. You can see the funnel starting to build. And this is where it got hijacked by traditional business. Third is desire. They need to actually need and want your services, which is why the demand generation system is so important. People tell me whether or not they need and want my service. I never ask them, because I'm so good at awareness and interest, and it's so authentic that the ones who want to buy, which is the final step, tell us, and they move forward. And the ones that don't, I continue to serve. If you're not a member, I will invite you to all of the free trainings. I'll invite you to networking events. I will never once ask you to buy, because my interest is in serving you. That's the piece that makes it authentic. And that was the question that I started asking myself around 2012 after losing a boatload of money. Remember, I started this portfolio in like 2009, was losing a boatload of money. All my traditional demand generation, click funnels, lead magnets, they weren't working. And so I just said, okay, I give up. This isn't working. My billboard's not working. My ads aren't working. I give up. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to serve people. And then the ones that want to buy. And it was like a surrender moment. And this weird thing happened. I just started speaking for free. I started attending networking events, and rather than trying to get a card or get a lead, I just started interacting with people, and, oh, wow, I can introduce you to Bill. Oh, I can introduce you to this person. This serving. And all of a sudden people started to buy, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this is different. So that's what I want to teach you. I want to teach you an authentic way to generate demand. And to quit chasing the lead funnels and the click magnets and all this crazy stuff that's out there, and just focus on building relationships with your buyer and serving them until they say that they're ready to buy from you. And I know it seems like it can't be done, but I'm telling you it can. To put that into perspective of how effective this is, 62% of the members who are using our platform, 62% have grown their business from one phase to the next. If they were in launch when they joined, they're now in shape. 62%, almost 2/3 of the people using the platform. And they did this in 1 to 1.5 years, 62%. Or if they were in shape, they're now in build. And a big part of how we're able to get that result, since we measure our success based on whether or not our members' businesses are growing, that's my measure of success. It's not revenue and profit. It's whether or not our members are growing their business. 2/3 of our members are successfully, they've doubled and tripled their revenue in 1 to 1.5 years, because we've only been in business 1.5 years. A big part of it is what they call ADG, or authentic demand. So I'm going to show you how that works. The key to understanding authentic demand is to stop thinking about selling and marketing and just focus on the relationship with the purest of intention. So in order to do that, we want to get rid of the funnel, and we want to start thinking about relationships and how do you cultivate a relationship? And the first thing is awareness. And with awareness, it's friends. I hope that all of you connect with me on LinkedIn, and you will find me to be willing to share your content. You will find me willing to make introductions for you, because I'm now aware that you exist. We're friends. And I don't mean friends like buddies back in the old school. I'm seeing some of you connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm so proud of you. But we're now aware of each other existing. And if you connect with the other people on the webinar, you're going to be aware that they exist. That's a good thing. You want that number to go up significantly. The second step is interested. Now, also on social media, I don't follow everybody I'm friends with on social media, particularly in the last decade with all of the political craziness. I don't follow some of my high school friends because we don't disagree. I mean, we disagree on some things. So follower means I really care what you say. And I'm really interested in it. So if we're friends and I follow you and you post something that I'm like, wow, that's really great, I'm going to share it because I'm interested in what you had to offer or say. If I'm not interested, I'm not going to follow you. Those two steps are the key to demand generation. You 10x your awareness and you get friends who follow, you are going to 3x your revenue every single time. If you 10x your awareness, you get friends who follow, you are going to 3x your revenue. Third step is desire. Desire is, I'm kind of a fan of this thing. I'm coming back. You know, I attended this event. Now I'm coming to that event. I'm maybe not ready to buy yet, but I'm interested, and someday, and I have people say this all the time, Terri, I'm going to join ShiftCo, April 1st, or, whatever the date is, or any of my other businesses. I've been wanting to buy that program and Succeed on Purpose for years. And now, I can afford to do it because some of our programs are pretty expensive in Succeed on Purpose. So a fan is that they try it, they maybe buy once, and it's like, it could be a sale, or it could be that they attend something or something like that. The key is the first two steps feed everything. It's not sales. What feeds sales, which is ACT, is friends who follow. So let me draw on this for just a second. I'm used to having a whiteboard and doing live events. This is really the key. You grow that, you 10x your awareness, your friends who follow, you will 3x your revenue. Just pure, hands down, that will happen. Now, the beautiful thing, the unintended consequence, and for those of you that are just joining, feel free to put your information in the chat so that we can all become aware that you exist. Feel free to ask questions. I will take them at the end. Make sure you connect with us on LinkedIn, because we're growing awareness. But the unintended consequence when I was building this method is the more authentic it was when somebody actually purchased, they actually became a fanatic, which means they refer people to you, or they buy again and again and again. That is a beautiful thing. And that's what creates this demand generation engine. But it starts first with awareness and interest. So awareness and interest is the game. Okay. The desire and act is the easy part, believe it or not. The easiest thing for me to do in ShiftCo is to give someone a demo that wants to buy and, basically send them to the link where they purchase. The part that takes the longest, that is the most important, is awareness and interest. So rather than thinking in terms of funnels, we're going to think in terms of building relationships authentically. So examples of friends. I like your page. We connect. That's why I said, let's connect on LinkedIn. I want all of you to connect with me on LinkedIn because you are now aware that I exist and I'm also aware that you exist. You need a lot more people to be aware that you exist. The number one problem in every single business is there are not enough people that are aware that you exist. So rather than marketing, grow your friends, generate more awareness, and find ways, authentic ways to do that. And I'm going to give you some techniques for that. Interested, when you're interested in somebody, you share their content, you join their list, you get to know them, right? And marketing today is not about purchasing and driving conversions. It's really about relationship building. I don't care what the product is. I've found one of the coolest product in the world. It's a sustainable beauty product. I absolutely love it. And it's called Izzy Beauty. And this is a sustainable lip gloss. So rather than throwing my lip gloss container out, it's this refillable product. It's brilliant. So I didn't just buy the product. I heard about it, awareness. I became interested. I started following them on social media. I signed up for their little newsletter. I started learning about them. I'm like, I think I'm going to try this. I tried it. I bought the lip gloss. Then I bought the mascara. I'm now a fanatic for this product, but it started with awareness and interest. And that's what you have to do. So how do you build awareness and interest? It's 3 steps. First is, where is your buyer? One of the mistakes that people make is, I'll just post on social media. Think about this for a second. The people you're already connected to, they're already aware. How is that going to get new people? You actually have to go into where the buyer is. So it's where you find them. Maybe you should be in a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group. Maybe you should do networking on something like Lunch Club or Happy Neighborhood Project, or you've got to go where they are. You can't wait for them to find you. So you've got to go there. So most important step. If you're waiting for people to come to you, or you're posting things on social media, waiting for people to magically show up, you're not doing awareness building properly. You want to go where your buyer is and take some time to figure that out. Second step is actually my favorite. Rather than following the way Terri does it, and this is why ShiftCo has so much success, you're not going to do it the way I do it. You're going to do what you like to do. I don't like live networking. I like live speaking, but I don't like live networking. You might. So now that live events are coming back, you might love that. You might not like networking on social media in groups. I do. I'm very good at it. I love it. It's efficient. It works for me. You might not like speaking. I do. So I speak. You might not like, I'm trying to think of a couple of others, attending events, So it's about figuring out what you like and how you'll do it in a way that fits you, just doing it where your buyer is. And then the last piece is the easiest. You're going to grow your relationships. You're not going to try to get anybody to buy. You're going to focus on them. I call it just serve your friends passionately. That's what I do. Every entrepreneur I come in contact with knows that I will give you free training. I will make introductions for you. I will answer your questions. I will serve you passionately, whether you buy from me or not. I don't care if you buy from me. What I care about is the relationship, and people feel that authenticity. They want to buy, great. If not, maybe they'll refer somebody. So these 3 steps we're going to break down, and we're going to talk about the activities first that are fun for you. So let's assume that you have figured out where your buyer is and you like that. You're like, okay, I know where the buyer is. This is great. I know where to reach them. The second thing you've got to figure out is which activities work for you. So what I'd like to do is make sure if you come off of mute, you can stay off of video if you want, but I would love to just brainstorm a little bit on what some of the activities are that you guys like. And then I'm going to give you a list that you can take a picture of that's about a third of the ones you could come up with. So you can shout it out or put it in the chat. What are some of the activities that you actually like to do? Let's see if what we've got. Anybody want to share anything? In-person networking. Yep. Looking forward to getting back to that. Other ideas? Anybody like to speak or do podcasts? Creating polls on LinkedIn. That's really effective. Wendy likes to speak. Awesome. Couple more. One-on-one meetings with people, not groups. That's good to know. That's very good to know. Okay, so you get the idea, right? We got a couple more coming in. Coffee chats, one-on-one coffee chats. That's great. That's a good use of time. So that's important to know. Like, the cool thing about demand generation and the way we teach it is you do you, I do me. I know what I like. I do the activities I like, but I do them with intention. And my intention is to build relationships. It's not to get anybody to buy. I am just going to make sure the world knows that I'm here, right? And I'm just going to keep growing I've got 30,000 people that like some of our pages on Facebook and 9,000 people on LinkedIn. I'm just going to keep growing awareness. And I'm going to do that through the activities that are fun for me. So you do you, I do me, but it's got to be things that you enjoy. So that's the secret. If you don't like to speak, don't speak. If you don't like networking, don't networking. Find the activities that work for you, but you got to do them. And you have to do them where your buyer is. You can't just post and go, right? I posted on social media, run away, because I don't really like to do that. I hope somebody likes it. Can't do that. You've got to go post on social media where your buyer is. You've got to join a group, do some chatting with somebody online. Hey, I've got a question for you. Let's chat online. If that's your online thing. If it's networking, you've got to find networking events that you actually enjoy going to. If you don't enjoy it, it's not going to be fun. So that's a critical component. Here's the way we break it down when we teach it in ShiftCo. If your business is under 50,000 a year, you want to focus on the priority side. So these are just some groupings. And when I put this up here, you can take a picture of the whole list. Approach people you already know. Every business I start with that. Flyer leave behinds. This is one of my little secrets. If you're ever in any cities where I am, you may see these because I leave them everywhere. At the grocery store, restaurants, I leave these little cards and they have inspirational quotes on them with my website address. So that if people will see them in Dallas, oh, Terri must have been here because they saw my cards. Relationship activities, live networking, LinkedIn, Facebook, referral activities, actually asking for referrals. Education, blog posts, webinars, and tools. I love to do that. This is an example of it. This is an awareness building activity. I love doing it. I love teaching, and people sense that. Digital and social, daily posts and tips, interacting with others, speaking. If you like to speak for free. And what we always say is do these activities first. So you really want to start with these activities. If your business is under 50,000 a year, you want to get as many of the activities as possible. Again, we just, skim the surface. This is 20 to 30%. When your business is a little more established, above 50,000 a year, partnering is a good thing. We have lots of ways of partnering in ShiftCo. We create lots of these little communities, hubs that network together and collectives that network together. So partnering is really a good idea. Trading services, help each other out. Creating alliances where there's a win-win, what's called give-get. So a give-get is I'm going to give you a client, I'm going to get a client. or I'm going to give you a client, I'm going to get some compensation from that. Being a guest on someone's radio and podcast. We have dozens of members that have their own podcast. They get a lot of their guests from ShiftCo. So, who do you know that's got a radio show or a podcast? If you like talking about your work, get on those and pitch yourself on those online partnerships, sponsoring events. And so you would do that next, and that'll typically take your business to 100 to 150. We personally don't start paid until we don't spend any money on paid until the business is well above 100 to 150,000 a year, and then we start adding in paid. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the paid piece. So that is an example of the activities piece, and you need 3 to 4 activities that you like, not one, 3 to 4 activities that you like, that you're willing to do every single week with this pure intention of building relationships and doing these activities that you like. And you start wherever you are, use what you have, do what you can. I love Arthur Ashe's quote, but you need 3 to 4 that you're willing to do every single week. And that's what builds awareness. So that's what grows your friends. Remember, you 10x your awareness, 10x your awareness, 10x your awareness, you will 3x your revenue. Friends, examples of that are Facebook likes and LinkedIn connections. And we're in a BNI group. We're in, I met you on Lunch Club. And that I heard you on this podcast. And so that is number one, 10xing your friends. I need to 10x my friends. Count how many connections you have. How quickly can you 10x that? Your business will grow just doing that. Interest is, hey, I'm checking you out. You're onto something. That doesn't mean I want to buy from you, but there's something here. That's when you would get on the list. You visit their blog, their webinar, the quiz. They come to hear you speak. That's when you're a follower. Desire is typically when they want to buy. And it doesn't mean they have bought yet, but they want to buy. So that means they could purchase, they could try a sample, they might refer somebody. And then the beautiful, unintended, amazing consequence is when you do this authentically, consistently, and you build this demand generation engine, you will create fanatics, and your fanatics will buy again and again and again, and they will refer others. For example, ShiftCo's member retention is 97.6% every month. That means 97.6% of our members pay us for the second month and the third month and the fourth month. They stay with us. That's a pretty good retention. Those folks are fanatics. 68% of our members came from referral. Somebody told them about ShiftCo. That means that we're creating fanatics, not because we're paying people to refer, but we're offering a great service and it's authentic. And that's the key, is people feel that sense of service. The last thing is just the how you do it piece. The first two, though, master the first two. The how is the easy part, quite honestly. It's really thinking about, how would you grow any other relationship? Dating, I found myself single 8 years ago and wasn't planned. And it took me a while to get over that. And then when I started dating, I had some friends. I met with those friends. I met somebody that I'm like, hey, I'm kind of interested in getting to know you better. Desire. I think I want to be in a relationship with you. Okay, let's get married. Same thing, right? And take it out of the dating circle and just friends. I met you at a family event and you're really cool. I'd like to get to know you better. Let's connect. No business. It's just, I really like you. We're interested in music. We're interested in Broadway shows, hey, this is really cool. And then it's like, I really want to stay connected to you. Like, you're a cool person. I think I would want to connect with you more. And then desire is, wow, I'm a fan of yours. You're now in my close circle. And then, wow, you're truly one of my best friends. Same thing, right? You build relationships over time. The problem in business is we've been taught to get people to buy. That doesn't work when you're a conscious entrepreneur. The less authentic you are, the worse your sales are. So it's really about growing those relationships, and it starts first with awareness and interest. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, first of all, where is your buyer now? Don't wait for them to come to you. Are they attending B&I networking? Are they on the Happy Networking Project? Are you going to find them on a certain podcast? Are they hanging out in a ShiftCo hub? Are they at a women's event that you could speak at? So where are they? Don't wait for them to come to you. Think about your ideal client, your most favorite client. Ask your most favorite client. So I'll say one of my most favorite clients and one of my other business, her name is Kim. And I'm like, Kim, where do you go to do da, 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 da? Well, I go to these conferences. Okay, great. I'm going to start going to these conferences because I want to meet more people like you. So think about your favorite client, ask them where they hang out. Are you on LinkedIn? Are you here? Are you there? Where are they? And then match that up with the things that you enjoy. Secondly, what do you have that you can share? Training. So that's obviously something I do. Lots of free events for all of our businesses. We're always doing something in all of our businesses because I love to do it. I'm a teacher at heart. And so that's one of the things I do. You might not like to do that, but maybe you're a connector and maybe you love networking so much that you could connect person A with person B. That's hugely value. So now you go to a networking event, rather than trying to get someone's card, you try to help them. You try to make connections. Let me connect you with so-and-so. One of the folks that came on was talking about what she did, and instantly one of our members came to mind, and I wrote a note. Karishma, I'm not sure I'm going to say your name right. I'm like, I am going to introduce you to Trisha because Trisha's looking for somebody just like you. That's an example of that piece. No strings attached. I'm just open to making that connection. And what I ask myself every time I engage with someone, my question to myself is, how can I serve you until you're ready to buy? And if you're not ready to buy, I hope that if I serve you, you'll refer somebody to me. And that's the way that I look at it. I'm not trying to get anyone to buy, and you shouldn't either. So here's examples of what I mean by that. We know that the ShiftCo member, what they need more than anything is they need more training, and they need training that's authentic. They need relationships that are authentic. So that's one of the reasons why we do free training, is come to our free training, come to our networking events. Our networking events are amazing. We've got them in 6 or 7 different cities. Come to any of those. We're going to introduce you to people. We're going to bring people together and facilitate introductions. Michelle, you need to meet Adam, and Adam, you need to meet Chris. So that the 2 things we know entrepreneurs need is training. We're going to give you free training, and we know you need new contacts and new relationships. So we have all these wonderful networking events. How cool is that? So that's an example. That's what creates friends who follow. Here's another example of a therapist creating a free chapter in a book. Here's one where, it's like, okay, 5 relationship pitfalls to avoid. That's powerful. This therapist says, what does my target market need? Well, they need tips on relationship pitfalls. So I'm just going to make that available. And what this particular therapist does is everywhere they speak, every podcast they say, go to my website and download this free copy of the 5 relationship pitfalls to avoid. That's an example of creating friends who follow. Here's another example. One of my favorite stories. I was personally trained by Wayne Dyer. If you know him, 2 of his daughters that I'm connected to, and I've attended a couple of events that they've done. I adored them, and they published this book. And when they launched the book, they developed a quiz that said, is our book right for you? Before you buy it, here's this quiz to know whether or not it's right for you. Succeed on Purpose, where everything started, was our first business. We've got these amazing tools that we've built over the last 7 years. What's your business persona? What's holding you back? That's around fear. What's your career persona? We've got energy clearing guides, fear quizzes, how to get out of the growth zone, amazing tools. If you're a coach or a consultant, you ought to look at that page and look at the free tools. You'll get some great ideas for that. Another example is, again, I like content. So I share a lot of content. I write a lot of blogs. I share them. I share other people's content. I have a lot of quotes, both ones that I created and other ones. So we share those. This is one of my favorites from Babe Ruth. I'm a huge baseball fan. It's hard to beat a person who never gives up. It's hard to beat a person who never gives up. That one is one of our most shared quotes on our Facebook page and on our Instagram page. Here's one in ShiftCo. You can share testimonies as well. So again, you got to just think about, what do you like to do and what does your buyer actually need? And the magic between those two, you put those two things together. One of my favorite stories, one of my favorite clients in all time this is our demand generation firm. This is their client, Smoky Mo's Barbecue. I love this client. Her name is Kim. When I always am asked who my favorite client is, she comes to mind. So how do we generate awareness for them? Because we do their marketing. Here's 8 steps for cooking melt in your mouth ribs on your home grill. There's nothing in there that's trying to get you to buy from Smoky Mo's. Nothing. We are serving you until you're ready to buy. This was one of the most successful blog posts and tip sheets, and people printed it out and printed it out. We had to make it printable for people because they loved it. Now, they might cook ribs twice, a quarter. They might go to Smoky Mo's 3 times during that quarter. The beautiful thing is Smoky Mo's doesn't care. They want to serve their target market until they buy. So that's an example. It's a very, very different way of looking at things. So we don't have time to do the breakouts, but I'm just going to kind of tie it all together for you. And then we'll stop and I'll take any questions that you have. The power of demand generation is focusing on the relationship and not trying to get anyone to buy. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to go from, oh, I networked with you, are you going to buy from me? That is no way in conscious business. It's not going to work. But if you basically, hey, we're networking together, I would really like to be connected with you. And if you've got content that I can share, let's give it to me and I'll share it on my social media. Or, hey, I met you at a networking event, Karishma, and I'm going to introduce you to this person I know, Trish Tate, that's looking for somebody just like you. That's an example of how that relationship gets built. And the beautiful thing is, if you get really, really good at these first 2 steps, you will never have to ask anyone to buy. They will tell you when they want to buy from you. And that's the beautiful thing. Also, to recap, the first 2 steps are key. You have to go where your buyer is. You cannot wait for them to come to you. It will not work. You have to go where they are. Secondly, do activities that you like. I am not comfortable live networking. I'm a huge introvert. I'm one of those at a live networking event. I'm kind of standing over in the corner, which shocks most people because I'm outgoing, but I'm an introvert. And it's like, don't get too close. I've got my bubble around me. Don't get so close. So I don't like to do a lot of live networking. I love doing virtual networking because I can have the space, but live doesn't work for me. You might be the exact opposite. You might love, several of you said you love live and in-person events. Great. Start to find them and go. And then every event you go to, try to build some connections. Try to walk around and get to know people. Don't try to sell them. Just try to grow awareness and let that happen. And then the growing of the relationships is really about setting this pure intention. My intention is to serve you. My intention is to make introductions for you. My intention is to answer your questions. My intention is to serve you until you are ready to buy. That's demand generation. It is unbelievably effective. And to put that into context again, 62% as of January 31st, I haven't looked at the latest results, but 62% of our members have doubled and tripled their revenue since joining ShiftCo. And we've only been in business a year and a half. So that's pretty amazing. 62%, 2/3 have doubled or tripled their revenue. Our goal is for that to be 100% by the end of this year. 100. We want 100% of our members to have doubled or tripled their revenue, to go from one phase to the next. How are we doing that? We're teaching them this. We're teaching them how to build demand in an authentic way and to get in the habit of doing it every single day. You can't do it one and done. It's got to be something that you're doing on a regular basis, the activities that you enjoy. So that's what we call rocket fuel. It clearly works. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to take a few questions, and I'll see if there's any other ways that I can serve you.